All right, so welcome. I am here with Miss Tamar Smithers, and she is the Director of Education and Public Programs at our brand new National Museum of African American Music. Thank you
So
so much for
excited.
joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure. And I absolutely love all the work that you're doing in the community with We Are Nashville. So anytime I can support, I'm all about it.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you and speak with you. So we have all types of listeners. We have all the way from elementary, middle, high school. We have families, and of course our wonderful educators here in Metro Nashville Public Schools. But there's a couple questions just so we can become even more familiar with this beautiful resource that's right here in the heart of our city. But can you share a little bit about your position? So as the Director of Education and Public Programs, what does that mean, and your position within the museum? What does that mean with you?
Yeah, so Director of Education and Public Programs. So pretty much I oversee all of our educational programs and initiatives, work in between cross-departmentally with the departments, marketing, development, obviously curatorial. The programs that we do support the curatorial narrative of the museum, but also community engagement. So collaborating with other, venues and organizations such as yourself that align with our mission and values, and just making sure that I am helping to be the vehicle to provide access to music education, arts education.
Oh, that's awesome. And we are grateful to have you. Awesome. So, and I know I kind of jumped ahead of myself. Let's go ahead and go back to, let's first define what the National Museum of African American Music is and where is it located? Where are you all located?
Yes, so the National Museum of African American Music, also known as NMAAM, we are located in downtown Nashville, Tennessee, on the corners of, 5th, but I believe now it's Representative John Lewis Boulevard and Broadway. So right across the street from Bridgestone Arena, the historic Ryman Auditorium. Our mission is to educate the world, preserve the legacy, and celebrate the central role that African Americans have played in creating the American soundtrack. And really, we just are a space, and I would say an artistic sort of hub that tells a story that has never been told before. So you'll see other music museums, Black music museums, that will focus on a specific genre or specific artist. And we are telling the story chronologically. So we take you through the story of the contributions African Americans have made to American music. And that is really what defines us and separates us from other music institutions.
I love the way you explained that and broke that down. And it even shows how education and educators and the school systems can really benefit from a resource like this right here in Nashville and really nationally.
Right.
So that kind of leads to my next question. Why do you believe that a resource so great, why do you believe it's important to have that here in Nashville, Tennessee? Why is Nashville a great place to have this museum?
So usually the thought that comes to mind when we're asked that, or when I'm asked that, is why not? First of all, like I think every city, every area across the country really should have an institution that highlights and is representative of the diverse musical offerings that African Americans have contributed to American music, because we know it's American music, right? But
Yes.
just having this space, having representation, we're right downtown, and being in that sort of that area, being able to have a Black institution in that area, and having a space for young people to come and see themselves in the museum, I think is absolutely is essential. It's amazing, and I think is going to have an enormous impact, not only here in Nashville and Middle Tennessee, but across the nation, globally. I'll stop there, but
Yes.
My short answer is to that question is why not? We need
Yeah.
spaces like this.
I love it. So just a little bit about myself. For 9 years, I taught elementary music, and this is my 4th year as like an elementary, as a district coach
Right.
with Nashville Public Schools as well. But one thing that I used to do in the classroom all the time with my elementary students, K5, K4, regardless of what month it was. But we would talk about the history of African American music and just the contributions of African Americans when it came to American music. And I would have to dig around and try to find and put the pieces together. So it's beautiful to have a museum that's focused on that and shows the timeline, which kind of leads me into my next question. Can you share with us because I think there's something really special about the layout of the museum.
Yes.
Can you share with us the layout of the museum?
Absolutely. So when museum visitors will come into the museum, you come in through our lobby area, and everyone who has a ticket will start in our Roots Theater. And in that theater, you get a 15-minute introductory video that really goes over the timeline and gives you the foundation that you need to go into each of the galleries in the space. From that, you will move into our Rivers of Rhythm pathway or corridor, which has really cool interactives that you can actually just go through the timeline in more detail. But it's also a space that connects all of our permanent galleries. So in this space, there's also these really cool, and for my young people, these cool takeover moments where there are these iconic moments in music history. So for example, Prince at the Super Bowl, performing at the Super Bowl. So you're in there, let's pretend you guys are in there, you're going through the timeline on the interactives, and all of a sudden, the lights will dim down. You'll get like stage lights and colorful lights that will come up, and then you'll be fully immersed in this concert music experience where you feel like you're actually there.
Wow.
So and that's just in the corridor that connects the galleries. Now, you can start there, but we are recommending that you go through chronologically. So from there, you would move into our Wade in the Water gallery, which touches on spiritual music, gospel. And Wade in the Water, we know that water is an integral element to us as African Americans in our experience, from the transatlantic slave trade to baptism to when we had enslaved people who were escaping, they would go into the water to throw off the scent. So Wade in the Water, you go through that. There's some really, really cool interactives in each of the galleries, but one of my favorites is in Wade in the Water. Well, actually, all of them are my favorite, but in Wade in the Water, there's an interactive where you can actually sing with Dr. Bobby Jones, who we know is awesome. An iconic in the gospel music arena, right? So you can sing with Dr. Bobby Jones in the super choir. You'll be superimposed on the screen. And actually, this is another thing that I want to mention. Each ticket holder will get what we call an RFID bracelet. And these bracelets you can take with you throughout the galleries and capture your interactive experience. So you'll be able to take that video with you. You'll be able to capture any of the other interactives that happen in there. And it's really, really cool. I'm trying to limit myself from being in there. I'm in there quite a bit, but that's all right. We'll work through it. So Wade in the Water. And then from there, you will go into our next gallery, which is Crossroads, which is the emergence of blues, and it talks about the Great Migration. And you'll see the differences between the galleries. So you'll Wade in the Water, the feel and the essence, or as our young people say, the vibe. Y'all say the vibe, right? The vibe of that is so different. You move into Crossroads and you have sort of this distressed flooring, and it feels like you're in a juke joint. And then from Crossroads, you move into A Love Supreme, which is the emergence of jazz. And so in each gallery, there is an intro film. And so with this intro film, you'll see the velvet curtains, like you're in the Cotton Club or the Savoy. And there's some amazing artifacts. I think in regards to artifacts, A Love Supreme is probably one of my favorites. We have a Louis Armstrong trumpet that is on loan to us in that gallery. We have a fur coat that Ella Fitzgerald wore, a fur swing coat. So just being able to see those artifacts in person, I think is amazing. So from A Love Supreme, you go into One Nation Under a Groove, which is our largest gallery. It covers, R&B, soul, funk. And then we go from One Nation Under a Groove to our final exhibition or gallery, which is The Message, which is hip hop and urban renewal. And my other favorite interactive is in the message. So it's actually a rap booth, y'all, a DJ rap booth. So you come in, and we are making sure that we have all of, CDC guidelines in place. So we're doing everything safely. But you'll be able to go in and you can battle with somebody if they're in your immediate family until we get through COVID right now. You can freestyle. You can sing along with a song of your choice. Rap along with a song of your choice. So those are all of our galleries. That is really sort of the chronological experience that we encourage our visitors to go through, but you really can go to any gallery that you want first and foremost. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. I literally was taking mental notes of where I will be heading. Yes.
You can be in there all day there. And we've opened our doors a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And I am seeing everyone from the little babies. We had this one young man who came dressed in full Michael Jackson, had the glitter glove, had the penny loafers, everything. And they absolutely love it. Another interactive that I want to mention, and I know we're trying to get through other questions, is we have a dance floor. So we have a dance floor. You can dance along through the decades. I believe one of Michael Jackson's, I think it might be Thriller. Not Thriller, or one of his amazing songs is on there. Dance along with it. So the experience is absolutely amazing. I do want to mention our changing exhibition or traveling exhibition that will open in the coming months, I'll say. We're working on this exhibition that will be rotating. So we thought that it would be apropos, and we couldn't sort of open up this changing exhibition without featuring and highlighting the Fish Jubilee Singers. We know how important the Fish Jubilee Singers are to Nashville and really to the world, how they were ambassadors during that time. And so we are going to be doing exhibition on the Fish Jubilee Singers. That will be up for a year because it's an inaugural show. But after that, usually we'll have exhibits that rotate every 3 to 4 months.
Oh, that is really cool. That's nice. And it's just as a reminder for everyone who's listening. So the National Museum of African American Music is open to the nation. So it's not just for us here in Nashville, Tennessee, but you're going to have people coming from all over the country to this museum. So, and we are the only, if I'm correct, we're the only place in the whole nation that has a museum that's focused on African American music in chronological order, like you.
Absolutely, yep.
So that's really special.
That story, yeah.
That is awesome. Well, look, I feel like I can answer this next question from the way you answered my last question.
Okay.
But I'm gonna hop around a little bit. So can you share with us? And I feel like I can answer this. Share with us some of your favorite highlights. So if it's something you mentioned already, that's cool.
Yeah.
But if it was our first time coming to the museum, where would you recommend us coming to first? Of course, we can go in order, but what's a must see?
Must see. I think I'm gonna say everything is a must see, right? From the lobby to our education center to just everything throughout the galleries. But if there was probably my favorite moment in and throughout the galleries, I would say it would have to be the Wade in the Water gallery for me, which is where we're encouraging everyone to start. Not only because of the amazing interactives in there, but I just think it's where it began, right? In order to know where you're going, you have to know where you came from. And so for me, that would be the first stop, is our Wade in the Water gallery. Nice.
And I would even say educationally, our educators could really benefit, even when we're putting together lessons, or it's Black History Month. This could be a really good exhibit. Okay, you said so much around how our youngest visitors can benefit, all the way up. But what would you say the museum has to offer our K-12 audience? So our students and our teachers and families.
Absolutely. So in addition to the amazing narrative and the interactives, we also have an array of programs that complement the narrative and the storyline. And we have actually been doing these programs. We call it our Museum Without Walls program since 2013. So before we even opened our doors, we've been having and engaging the community with these programs for students of all ages. So in terms of resources, we are currently also working on a curriculum called Rivers of Rhythm curriculum. We love the Rivers of Rhythm around NMAAM. So our Rivers of Rhythm curriculum, which really is in tandem with all of our permanent galleries. So that will be a resource that teachers will be able to use, parents will be able to use for their students. It'll be available in written and electronic delivery. We're going to have pre, during, and post lessons and activities that complement the narrative and the storyline of the museum. And so that's for our younger audience. For our younger audiences, once we hopefully get back to in-person learning, we'll definitely have scheduled ongoing programs throughout the museum, throughout various different spaces. And we're still committed to having this Museum Without Walls model after. So even though we'll be having ongoing programming throughout the walls of the museum, we're still going to be engaging the community. We're still going to be going into the school district. We're still going to be making sure that we are present in the Nashville and Middle Tennessee community. I do want to say that we've also partnered with Quaver Music to present one of our most popular K through 8 mostly, but it's really for any age program called our From Nothing to Something program, and that teaches on how innovative African Americans and enslaved Africans had to be when they came to this country to create music. And so we have various different units in the spoons, the harmonica, washtub bass, lyrics, so on and so forth. And we really teach the historical foundation of that instrument, the musical genres that it influenced. We have a well-known prominent teaching artist that will come in and teach. So for spoons, for example, we have Mr. Lucius Spoon Mentale, that is well known for his spoon playing here in Nashville and surrounding areas, and really all around the nation. We have Mr. Carlos D. Ford Bailey, who does our harmonica workshop, who comes from a legendary family. Mr. D. Ford Bailey is his grandfather, who was said to have named the Grand Ole Opry. So they teach the instrument, they perform, and then the students are able to take those instruments home. But like I said, we partnered with Quaver to digitize our spoons and our banjo project, and we're hoping that we're able to put all of the units on there. So in terms of resources for K through 12, I think the resources and the possibilities are endless. We also have a professional development opportunity called RISE, and it's Rivers of Rhythm Institute for Social Education that we normally do in the summer. It has traditionally been geared towards MNPS, but we're looking to open that up. But we really want to provide teachers with valuable information, tools, and techniques that they can use on how they can use the museum as a resource to complement their curriculum, complement what they're already teaching in the classroom.
That's great.
Yeah, and I was going to say, sorry, Bryson, I was going to say a lot of the information is already available on our website. So if you go to our website at www.blackmusicmuseum.org, click on our education tab or Museum Without Walls tab, you'll be able to see all the endless amounts of resources and materials that you can download and print and utilize.
That's awesome. And that's readily available right now for educators to access. Wow. Okay. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. I had so many thoughts while you were sharing that. That's the educator in me. Okay. Well, I want to ask this. I don't want to hold you too long, but there's so many things I can ask you. But I do want to ask this. So we're going to shift gears just a little bit.
Yeah.
Why do you believe, and with your role with the museum, why do you believe music education, just in general, is so important? And you know, we're at a time where education is somewhat being, in a way, redefined right now, just with, you know, the onset of COVID and there's more options and things are just being reshaped. But and there's some places in our nation that are questioning music education being offered. So why do you feel that music education is important?
So first of all, let me say, we all know that music is the great unifier. The arts in general are a vehicle that can be used to sort of cope with daily, you know, challenges and adversities. And so I think, you know, music is, it's a resource for healing. It's a resource for inspiration. And I was one of those students who didn't necessarily have an extreme amount of access to music education. And so, and we know statistics show that students who study any form of art, music, they do very well on test scores. Their attendance is even improved. So I think that there are multiple reasons that validate why music education is so important. But I feel that it offers our young people, especially in today's times with all the trauma that our babies have gone through since last year. I mean, here in Nashville alone with the tornado, and then we had the, social injustices of the summer, and then COVID, like, you need an outlet. If we as adults need an outlet, then our young people and our babies definitely need an outlet. Sure. And they need inspiration and things that might spark discoveries in them. Yeah. So they might not know that they love classical music. They might not know that hip hop is just the end all be all for them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If they're not exposed to it and they don't have access to that education and the foundation for that, then I think it really does a disservice to our young people. Wow. So I am a true advocate. Like I said, I was one of those young people. 4 years old, I'm singing into a hairbrush in my room with yes. stuffed animals, putting on concerts. And, just imagine if I had the resources to really experience that even more so in my younger and formative years. Just I can only imagine. So I hope that answers the question.
It does. Wow. No, that was great. And it just makes me think about the heart of this whole program. We Are Nashville. It's yes. all around exposure and experience. And for those that are watching and listening, that's the reason that we exist. But we want to make sure that you're exposed, because I want to say testimony. That's my yes. story too. My testimony too. But yeah, it's all about exposure, and what I've seen in my life is because of what I'm able to offer is because of what I've seen and I've been exposed to and I've experienced. So We Are Nashville exists to help provide those experiences and expose others, young people, all throughout Nashville and beyond, to what exists right here in the heart of Nashville, right here for you. So wonderful answer. Thank you so much for sharing that. I have two more quick questions for you. If you were to give any advice, so we have listeners from probably kindergarten all the way up. But if you were to give some advice to our listeners, what advice would you give? And this could be pertaining to music education, this could be pertaining to achieving your dreams and goals, whatever the advice may be. What valuable advice would you give?
So I've just literally thought of this. I sort of have three separate pieces of advice. So for my young babies, my K through 3, 4th grade, I encourage you to be open to trying new things.
That's good.
So you may not know that you love, like I said, classical or any sort of other musical genre if you're not willing to try it. So always be open and willing to try new things. For my older young people, I would say about 5th or maybe 12th grade, right? Don't be afraid to step out and do something different. And so that's similar to the young people as well, but don't be afraid. So try new things, don't be afraid. And then for my older people, embrace change.
Yeah.
So, you never know where life is going to take you. And things might be scary. Things might be, because you don't know what the next step is. Yeah. But I say embrace change. You might be afraid, but do it afraid.
Nice. Oh, that's so good. I literally saw a continuum with that answer, because it's like as we get older, we tend to limit ourselves and box ourselves in.
Absolutely.
But we're still alive. Don't kill yourself off so soon.
Absolutely. I know that we are continuing to grow and evolve, and you never stop learning.
Yes.
I will never stop learning. As long as I live, there's always something to learn. And so just being open to it and embracing change. That has been my sort of thing that I've been living by for the past few years. Because I used to be like, I don't know. Like I couldn't see the next step. But you gotta let it go and just embrace it.
And I'll tell you, I think most educators right now, we're going to go ahead and I have one more and then we're going to wrap up. But I think educators right now all over the world can agree with that. Because this whole year since last March it's been
so fluid, right? Like we didn't know, like when we started this, it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We can't be person, but we have been so innovative as educators, and we made discoveries. So for example, when we moved our programs from an in-person activities and engagements and moved it to virtual and digital, which I'm sure educators around the nation, around Nashville, around the world, we've been able to engage like literally. So 2,900 people before the pandemic, we're at over 229,000 people that we're able to reach with our program. And so we discovered that this is something that we definitely want to embrace and continue to use and sustain it, because it's something we just can't go back to what was, right? It's always like, when are we going to get back to some sense of normalcy? Well, I don't think it's never going to be normal like that. Our normal is different. It's a new normal. New normal. Good normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Growth, Yeah. But now that's awesome. Wow. Great conversation with you. So the last question, so this is something I want to ask all of our artists that we're engaging this week. But what is the phrase "We Are Nashville"? When you think of the phrase "We Are Nashville," what do you think about, and what does that mean to you?
So first of all, I think of the word "we." So when you think of the word we think of unity, right? We're all working together. We're all in this together. And no matter, what sort of cultural background you may come from, what side of town you're on, we're all in this to showcase and highlight the diversity that Nashville truly has to offer. Because I think oftentimes, and before I even moved to Nashville, the national perception is Nashville is just country music. And so we know that is not the case. There's a rich history and legacy of all musical genres. You take a look at Jefferson Street, that was an artistic hub where musicians, Black musicians and creatives came. Anytime they had a show in Nashville, you can bet your bottom dollar that they were somewhere in one of those clubs on Jefferson Street performing. So I think what that means is we all have to work collectively together. And I think we've been doing that to really showcase and highlight this amazing music city that we live in. And I don't want to say put Nashville on the map, because Nashville has always been on the map.
Yes, it has.
Just highlight it a little bit more.
Beautiful answer. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Yes, and I really hope our listeners have taken some of the information that's been shared, and I hope that encouraged you to go out and check out the museum. It's right here in our home, right here in Nashville. Okay. And if you see, look on social media. I know there's information being shared on social media as well. If they have questions, more questions around the museum, and contact information on the site as well too.
Absolutely. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like I said, our website is www.blackmusicmuseum.org. We do have a membership program available. I hope it's okay if I plug that a little bit, Bryson. Right. So we have student level, we have individual level, we have a family package. So just take a look at the options if you want to support the museum in any way possible. I think that would probably be one of the things that we would encourage you to do. A museum membership gets you unlimited access, because when you come to visit the museum, you're going to need more than, I would say, 90 minutes to go through and really just grasp the wealth of knowledge that's in there. So we encourage you to become a member.
Awesome. And it's open right now, so they can go now.
Yes, come on down.
Come on. All right, thank you again. And thank you. All right, and you have a wonderful day.
You too, and thank you for all the work you're doing.
Oh, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care.